We love spending this time with you. Thank you for listening. If you would like to take your listening experience to the next level, did you know there's a way to do that, Jabo?
I do.
Yep, you know how you do it. You go to thetjshow.com, you sign up for the TJ Show newsletter, and you get cool things dropped right into your inbox, like the TJ Show's 10 shares. We pick 10 different things, everyone on the team does it, that we think you're going to love. It's not just about our show. This is about like stuff, music we're listening to, whatever it may be.
Like life stuff.
That's just the tip of the iceberg. There's a whole lot more in there. Sign up at thetjshow.com. This is the TJ Show. I got a really nice text message from Jabo yesterday. Kind of made my day. You were at a coffee shop, or you sent me like multiple coffee shops in our area because you just know I love them so much, especially great ones.
And I'm trying to explore the area more. I mean, there's one coffee shop in particular that I really love, but I want to, check out other places.
There's something about a coffee shop. It gets me so excited. Beyond just the coffee, like the aesthetics of it.
Yeah, me too.
The beauty and the care of the baristas when they really care about what they're doing and that excellent customer service. I just love the whole vibe. I love the people in there who also love it. And so you sent me one, and of course I'm clicking around the website because I can't help myself. I have to learn as much as I can. What do they do? What kind of beans do they roast? And I stumbled across something that I found surprising. I never heard this term before. It says, "Welcome to our cafe where we believe in the power of a third place. A space that isn't a home or work, but a welcoming haven where communities thrive. Our cafe is more than just a place to grab a cup of coffee. It's a destination where connections are made, ideas are born, and friendships flourish. We understand the importance of community, and we've crafted an atmosphere that fosters a sense of belonging. Whether you're here to catch up with friends, dive into work, or simply savor a quiet moment alone, our cafe is designed to be the perfect backdrop for every chapter of your day." I might be a little strange, but reading that almost brought me to tears. I was like, that is so beautiful.
And when you walk into that coffee spot, like, you do feel very welcomed. It is very small and quaint, but you feel welcomed when you walk in.
Yeah, I don't know why I had such like an emotional reaction, because I usually don't like have any emotion with most things. But that, for some reason,
That's true.
it just brought this tear to my eye, and I was like, wow, that, and I think what it is, after I thought about it a little bit, I think this is what the world needs. The world needs more third places, which is a term I heard for the first time on that website.
Yeah.
And I love that whole concept. Do you have a third place, Kenny?
I didn't know what third place was. I thought
So
you
you've
were
never
talking
heard it
about
either?
the bronze medal.
Okay, so do you have one?
Now that I know what it is, I would have to say like sporting events.
Okay.
Going to the New York Jets games with my family and friends and meeting new friends there, or maybe even
Community.
the bowling alley.
Yeah, and
That's a good one, yeah.
that's true. Bowling alley is a good one. And to clarify, your first place would either be like home,
Right.
second place being work. Your third place is somewhere else that you go to
Okay.
get community.
What's the first place that comes to mind when you hear that term?
I don't have a third place.
You don't?
No,
Okay.
I don't. I don't have a third place currently.
Have you had them in the past?
Yeah, it's usually like my parents' house or church or a friend's house.
Right. Yeah, I would definitely put church in that category for me. Coffee shops for sure. Can you have two third places?
I guess you can. Why
You
not?
can have a tie,
Yeah.
or who knows? I would say church for me is definitely that. But there's got to be something where you are on your own if you choose to be. And I think the coffee shop, definitely for me, is that. Like if I want to get some work done or really focus on something, and also not be at home where maybe the kids are screaming, it is amazing with just 30 minutes, 40 minutes, just
Right.
taking a moment, even on a lunch break. If some of us are fortunate to have lunch breaks in our office, do we want to eat in the office, or do we want to go to our third place
Right.
and just kind of see what happens? There's also this element of you don't know what's going to happen when you leave your normal, comfortable space. And it's kind of exciting.
Yeah, you change the scenery. It also helps to get certain things done. Like especially if there's something you want to work on that's tough and you're just having a hard time getting going, maybe changing the scenery, going to that third place to work on that project can help you do that project even better or quicker.
Well, thank you for sharing that with me, because you didn't even know that I would stumble
you're
across
welcome.
that part of it. And I was like, you made my day. That was awesome. I love that whole concept. Jabo, do you like to sleep in a cold or a hot room?
Cold room.
Cold room, yeah. My wife Jess is the same way. She keeps our bedroom like a freezer. It's like a meat locker.
It's been recommended for the best sleep to have your temperature set at like 65, 68.
I don't know that anything other than penguins and polar bears like to sleep in this kind of an environment.
You're ridiculous.
And not only that, it's freezing cold, and she turns the fan on. And let's add on top of that, it's now the summer, and it's still cold.
That's good. That means the perfect room, the perfect temperature to sleep.
But it's like there's got to be some sort of an in-between. It can't be frigid while I'm trying to sleep next to my wife, Jess. And so what I've done, because I love her very much, is I wear a winter coat to bed, even in the summertime. And she made an accusation against me yesterday. I couldn't believe it. I had to pull out the microphone and confront her about what she said I was doing. What is this accusation you just made?
I feel like you are dressing the way you do for bedtime to make a point and to make me feel bad.
She thinks I'm doing it because I want to make her feel bad. I'm freezing. Why? Like, where's the line? Do you think I'd really want to make you feel so bad that I'd be uncomfortable? I'm uncomfortable. I'm trying to be more comfortable.
Because I come into bed and I see you dressed like you're going skiing.
Oh, sorry that's so disturbing to you while I'm chattering my teeth without it. Why would I make myself more uncomfortable? I'm freezing even in the summertime.
No, you're overreacting. You're overreacting to prove a point.
Can you believe this, J-Bo?
Oh, yeah, I can believe it.
Defend me.
No, it's
Come
very.
on. No, you know you're on my
This
side.
is fun.
No, it's not fun.
To make me feel bad so that I'll make it warmer in the house so that you get your way.
If it was too hot for me, I would be sweating. But I'm not. I'm comfortable. I sleep the whole night with the winter coat
No,
on.
actually, I come in and you're really hot. You're very, very warm. And sometimes I see that you've actually ripped part of your winter coat off because you're so hot.
Now, I'm convinced she actually turns the heat up a little bit just to make me... That's what I think.
Now you sound like her.
Yeah, you want to start having accusations? Well, it goes both ways.
And you've got the blankets off of your body. You look miserable.
I think she tortures me while I'm sleeping. I'm pretty sure. There's got to be some sort of sheets or something that can regulate your side of the bed and mine differently, or a mattress or something.
Yeah, I mean, you even grew out a huge beard, and that still doesn't keep you warm enough at night.
I'm still cold with a beard. People are like, why do you have a beard in the ssummer? Well, hello, come into my bedroom at night. You'll see. No, I'm freezing in here. But this is what I do because I love you.
We can't make it too hot because you can only take so much off.
Are you sure about that? Since when?
Facts.
Well, I'm going to look into this. Do you like that, J-Bo, what I did there?
Oh, it's fact, yeah.
I said since when, huh? Hey, oh. Okay. But you're being accusatory and I don't like it.
Well, you're being an overreactor. And listen, you come from a long line of honest overreactors.
That's not true.
Yes, it is.
No, I think she was talking about my mom.
Oh, yeah, I think she
Her
was.
mother-in-law.
Talking about your mama.
Not a popular approach to take. You know, you want to keep everything good with the family and the in-laws.
right.
So anyway, this is a current battle, and I'm sure, I don't know, doesn't Mattress Firm have a solution for this? There's got to be.
It has to be some kind
Like,
of sheets or mattress firm. Or
somebody-
y'all can get some blood work done and see who has low iron. Because somebody's deficient.
No, I don't want blood work done. I just keep the thermostat at 70. Please.
No.
Just 70. Come on. What? Is that too hot? Are you kidding me? What is wrong? She needs to get studied.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to. One of y'all.
It is one of my favorite things when a bunch of scientists get together, they do all this work in the laboratory, and then we just get to read the results.
And then we look smart.
We didn't do anything.
Yeah, I love it.
This is actually a very fascinating study that was done by Gallup. They discovered, after an annual report on the global workforce, only 31% of workers younger than 35 said they were thriving at work last year. Take note of that. Only 31% of workers younger than 35 claim they were thriving at work last year, down from 35% the year before, which is still not a great number. The chief scientist of workplace management and well-being at Gallup said we've seen increases in negative emotions globally for young people, including loneliness. Young remote workers report more loneliness. They are starting to feel more distant from their employers. The report also noted that older leaders, quote, may not see the present and the future in the same way as their youngest employees. We can see how that could happen, right?
Right?
Disgruntled employees cost U.S. companies an estimated $1.9 trillion in lost productivity last year. And that's according to previous research from Gallup that puts a price tag on workplace unhappiness. It's a big problem. I mean, it's obviously a huge problem for the employees because they're miserable in their job. We're very passionate about encouraging people to do what they love and find what they love and work on that. But then it's also a problem for the leaders and the business owners because they're not getting the productivity that they could. And I think the problem here is it requires a lot of work to get this whole balance correct. I don't know that there's an easy way. If someone could just push a button or take an online training course, then that'd be way too easy and everyone's problems would be solved. We just know it's not that easy.
Right.
So what I found, and this is interesting timing on this because I just recently discussed this with a friend, a very dear friend of mine. He's struggling at work. And when I talked to him, because I saw he was really down, I said, hey, tell me what's going on. And when he was describing what he's dealing with, it's a lot of trivial, immature nonsense. And I said,
From him or the work or the
from the
environment he
coworkers.
works in? Yeah.
Yeah, like a lot of accusatory, talking behind your back. It sounds like high school, honestly. It sounds like the lunchroom that he's describing. And I'm like, bro, start to understand how great organizations run. Invest some time in that. And I always encourage people to read this book because I feel like it's a playbook to how businesses should be run. There's an author named John Maxwell. He's written a ton of books on leadership. And this one is called The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. I said, just start there. Just read that and see how, A, you're supposed to be treated and how we should be treating others. And it will change your life. I've seen other people who have taken on this way of doing things in the office. And what eventually happens is either you outgrow the workplace that you're in and you move on to something better, or you start to change the horrible, toxic culture that you're in. And it's interesting because oftentimes the people who rise up to leadership positions, they wind up taking the time to invest in themselves. They turn off Netflix, they turn off all these shows, and they just start saying, I'm going to take one step at a time in the direction of getting better with work dynamics and people dynamics. And you will land in a place where you are happy. Eventually that will happen.
And there's some people, and maybe this might be you do enjoy where you work and you enjoy what you do, but the company dynamic is really tough. And so I think, TJ, when you said it takes work, it does take work between the employee and the employer.
Sure.
Right.
And sometimes the employer doesn't get their stuff together. They refuse.
Right.
So eventually you're going to be out of there.
Yeah.
And the work that you're doing right now is not lost. It's important work right now. It's building up the foundation of who you are in the workplace. So I love studies like this. I'm so grateful that they did this. And it was a wake-up call. I didn't realize the unhappiness was that high. I mean, that's a pretty high number there. This is the TJ Show, and I am so excited. Anytime there's any connection to NASA, I'm there. Alicia Winsley, is that really you?
Yes, this is me, Alicia Winsley, here in the flesh.
And you work for NASA. And I imagine you've been at many a parties. People ask you the question, what do you do? And how do you explain the answer to that question?
Okay, so my title is computer engineer. And what I do is I am currently the lead avionics engineer for the Space Launch System. And that is the rocket that we're using to send astronauts to the moon, to return to the moon.
Unbelievable.
That's the title that I give people. But the easiest thing is I tell them, give the computer all of the things that it needs to know to get to the moon.
And do people's jaw just drop? They go, oh, you're a NASA person? Oh my goodness. I'm assuming you're like cornered until you find a way out of that conversation, right?
Yeah, people are always like, oh my gosh, you're a rocket scientist. Or the funniest one I get is they call me an astronaut. And I'm like, no, I just send the people to the moon, maybe, but I'm not that.
So, Alicia, how do you wind up at NASA? Is that something pretty much all of your colleagues dream of as a little kid? Like, how did you find your way there?
So my story is a little unique from most. So I think there are a lot of people that this is their dream job. For me, it was a dream job that I didn't even realize was a dream until I got here. And so I was working at another government agency before I came on to NASA. And I just started doing this research of what is something big that happened around the time that I was born. And in that, the Challenger accident happened 3 days after I was born. And so I just did all of this extensive research on it and found out why. And also I was kind of working in the same area, if you will, in my previous organization. And doing that, I was like, I want to never have this to happen again, whether it was in my current job or in my new job. And then I was applying for jobs. I happened to see one for NASA and I did well in the interview and I'm here.
Wow.
Congratulations.
That's awesome. That's amazing that you just said, you know what? This wasn't my dream, but it is now. That's awesome. So for someone, it is their dream. What is a way to, like schooling wise, what do you suggest for a kid who's like, I want to work for NASA? Where do they start?
So there are so many different fields here at NASA. There are engineers. So I'm an engineer. But there are different types of engineers. So there's electrical, computer, mechanical, aeronautical engineers. Then we have scientists who are biologists, chemists. We have people that do structural work. We have lots of different fields that you can go in. So NASA is not just engineers that do the work. There are a lot of things that are behind the scenes. We have contracting officers. We have procurement officers that make sure we have the supplies that we need. So there are so many different fields for a person that wants to work here. But if a person wants to actually do, the rocket science-y stuff that we do, then they will be engineers, mathematicians, scientists, biologists, all of those things.
Isn't it so cool, though? I find that so encouraging. First of all, that there are so many spots in this very prestigious space that are available for anyone who really wants to do it. And even with your story, you started reading about this stuff and that drew you into it. But also, I think anyone could start reading about it, even if you're a kid and there's not even a course of action at this moment to go to a certain college yet or whatever. Wouldn't you say that just immersing yourself in it is the key?
Yes, absolutely. When you find the thing that you love. So me, when I started out, I didn't want to be an engineer. I just knew I liked math. And because I loved math, that drew me into learning about computers. And I was always taking them apart and putting them together. And then when I got to college, someone told me, my advisor told me, hey, you're going to be a computer engineer. I said, okay.
That's awesome. Well, Alicia Winsley, we are so happy to be on the phone with you. Stay right there. We're going to come back because I have so many more questions for you. This is the TJ Show, on the line with someone from NASA. How did this happen? Alicia Winsley, more on the way. The TJ Show is sponsored by Prize Picks. You want to play daily fantasy sports and it just seems so complicated? Well, what about Prize Picks for daily fantasy sports?
Prize Picks is cool because it's just you picking against stat projections, more or less on 2 to 6 players' stats, everything from basketball finals. Keep an eye out for star players for boosted payouts, and you can even use esports to add to your entries now.
Yeah, every Wednesday and Saturday in June, if your esport lineup doesn't win, you'll get your entry fee back. Quick withdrawals, easy gameplay, and an enormous selection of players and stat types are what makes Prize Picks the #1 fantasy sports app. PrizePicks.com. Download the app today and use code TJShow for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code TJShow on Prize Picks for a deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy. Must be present in certain states. Visit PrizePicks.com for restrictions and details. PrizePicks.com. Have I said it enough?
PrizePicks.com.
You got me. This edition of the TJ Show is sponsored by BetterHelp. Yeah, the year is going by quite quickly.
Bro, I blinked and it's gone.
Halfway there. And sometimes it's hard to take inventory on how we're doing.
Yeah.
And I think one of the ways to truly assess our progress is by talking to someone else about it. Therapists have made me realize, actually, maybe I'm further along than I think, because our mind can play tricks on us.
That's right.
And we've got to talk through this kind of a thing. Whether you're celebrating big wins, small wins, whatever it is, knowing that you're winning or if you're not, how to change that is so valuable.
A win is a win, and therapy is a win.
I agree with you. If you've ever considered it, go to betterhelp.com/TJ. That's betterhelp.com/TJ. You fill out the questionnaire, you get linked up with a licensed therapist. If for some reason it's not a fit, you can switch therapists anytime, no additional fee. Take a moment, visit betterhelp.com/TJ today to get 10% off your first month. That's betterhelp, HELP.com/TJ. betterhelp.com/TJ. This is the TJ Show. We're talking with someone who actually works at NASA. What a great honor to have Alicia Winsley on with us. Thank you for taking the time to be on our show, Alicia.
Thank you so much for having me. It's truly an honor.
Well, we were just chatting in between songs, and I heard a notification go off, and you said, that's my email. Now, can you read it to us? Like, what does it say? I mean, it's got to be really cool, right?
Top secret stuff.
It's probably an email telling me that I have a meeting to attend.
Or
an email to tell me to attend this meeting at 2:00.
Okay, fine, boring, whatever. That's what everyone says when there's
What's
really...
the meeting about, though?
Yeah,
Top secret stuff?
What do you got?
Like, can you tell us?
No, actually, it wasn't. This one was not about top secret stuff. We're planning our next terminal count sim. So there's a meeting to tell us about all of the things that we need to know. And that terminal count sim is what we use to practice launch countdown.
Launch countdown practice. Yeah, they gotta go over how to get from 10 to 1. Yeah, it's very
10.
Yes, absolutely. There are a lot of things that go on behind the scenes.
See, Alicia, I'm dangerous because when you answer the question that way, I just always assume like she's been trained to say it that. But anyway, I'm not gonna listen. We are. I'm always so excited to chat with someone who's working at NASA. Like, there's just so much mystery, obviously, around outer space. We don't know most things. When you get into a conversation with someone, is it almost guaranteed that the topic of aliens is going to come up?
Absolutely.
Okay.
They
And
asked me where they were hiding them.
yeah. And like, how do you answer those questions? Because if you did know, my theory is, if you did know for sure, you wouldn't be able to say it anyway. So you'd have to have some sort of a clever response. Like, how do you navigate that conversation that seems to dominate every discussion around outer space?
So I navigate that question with the funny thing is that I have seen the aliens before. And that is because we have this lab that's called the Veggie Lab. And on the outside of the door, there's a picture of an alien. So I've taken a picture with it. It's like I have a selfie with an alien if you want to see it.
Oh, come on.
You had me for a
Come
second. I was
on.
like, wait a minute.
Wait, there's real aliens?
What?
Yeah, so that's my
Wow.
that's my spiel for that. I was like, yeah, I have a picture with the alien. You want to see it?
My heart
great.
almost stopped beating for a second there. J-Bo, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I was like, are you kidding me? On our show of all the places,
Yes.
NASA? What? Now, if we were clickbaity people, we could totally take that out of context and just run it up.
Yes.
Well, we don't want to do that. That's so annoying. Kenny, any questions for Alicia Winsley, who works for NASA?
Yeah, Elisa, I know you're primarily on the ground level in these space missions, but do you have like any want or feeling of need that you want to go to space yourself? Is that a possibility for you ever?
That is not a possibility for me because I have severe motion sickness.
Oh, okay.
So I get sick on car rides, airplanes, so I wouldn't even be able to make it through the tower.
That would be a messy
And when I say the
launch.
tower, if you see at the top of the rocket, there are some nets there. So when we clear the tower, it goes over to the Mission Control Center in Houston. So I wouldn't even be able to make it past that with all of the vibrations.
Okay.
You know, we're called to work together as a team. I think
Yeah.
one of the greatest
Yes.
examples of teamwork is NASA. Some people are supposed to go to outer space. Some people aren't. I can tell you, I'd be one of those people who would not go to outer space. I don't care what the offer is.
Alicia, you had mentioned that one of the projects you work on is to get the astronauts back to the moon. But we haven't been since
Yes.
the 70s. Why is that?
Lots of things changed. We started exploring more. We built the International Space Station, so kind of creating this hub in low Earth orbit. And this is our return back to the moon. So we've come up with strategies to be able to repeat that feat, and I'm excited to be a part of it.
When do we see that happening?
Yeah.
So the last flight to the moon was in Apollo, and then in between there we had the Space Shuttle program, which we were using to build the International Space Station. And so our next return of astronauts will be Artemis 2, which is for September 2025, and then Artemis 3, which will be broadcast sometime later, and that will be the one that will return astronauts to the moon.
Very exciting.
Awesome.
You know,
That's awesome.
it's so refreshing to like not be at some party where everyone's a few in and they're like, yeah, man, we're going to go to the moon in this day. Like now we got these answers
I feel
officially.
like I'm on the moon
And,
right
you know,
now.
I'm just a commoner. You know, who am I? I don't know much. I'm just a woman. But to me, I'm just like, if we sent them back in the 70s, can we just wash, rinse, repeat that and send them again? But I'm sure there's more details that need to be worked out in order to send people back to the moon.
Absolutely. Our technology has changed since the 70s. You know, back in the 70s, their consoles, which are the things that we used to operate in the fire room, they were keying in numbers. They would have printouts. And now we do it all with a computer. And when we build some apps to be able to talk to the computer, talk to the rocket to tell us everything we need to know. So a lot of our technology has also changed. So we're making sure that, you know, our technology keeps up, but also we want to make sure that the astronauts are safe as well.
Of course, definitely.
I mean, compared to what we have now, I mean, they must have gotten them there with like a Texas Instruments calculator at that
Right.
time.
And a paperclip.
Yeah,
Actually, they
paperclip.
used to do some of the calculations on the whiteboard.
Yeah, don't make fun of the paperclip. That was an
Wow.
essential part, okay? Alicia Winsley, it is such an honor to be able to get this time to talk with you. Thank you for taking the time. And anytime you want to hop on our show, if there's any big announcements or anything, you know, aliens, anything at all, you are welcome on our show. You're a friend of the show, and we love talking to you.
Thank you so much for having me, and it's a pleasure.
Let's hear it for Alicia.
Hey!
NASA. So grateful that you're reaching out. It's always so amazing to hear from you, whether it's on the phone, our voicemail, email, DMs. There's so many ways to get in touch with us. All of them can be found at thetjshow.com. We got this message on the phone from Katie.
Hi, guys. This is Katie in Connecticut. We talked about sports schedules and dance recitals.
Oh, you remember that the other day?
Yeah, I remember.
She was
I
an
remember
amazing,
Katie.
amazing mom. She said that she's pretty much driving her kids around all day long. And I said,
Right.
oh, feel ya on that one. I mean, I don't do it nearly as much as my wife, Jess, but, you know, I hear about
You
it.
still got to participate, yeah.
Right.
Just wanted to update you because I thought I only had lacrosse this summer. Well, guess what? Football starts today.
Oh, so just went from all that other driving around to now
Oh,
football.
poor Katie.
and I was wondering how I'd fill those last 2 free days on my calendar.
No, there are no free days. Come on. Free days? Does that happen ever?
So shout out to all the parents who have become unpaid Uber drivers and those who continue to be. Go team!
What a great outlook on that.
Yeah, and she sounds like a great mom. I mean, she's got a lot of joy in her voice. That's
Yes, she
awesome.
does.
Thank you for reaching out, Katie. And I always tell you, whenever you call, you are a friend of the show. So when you got our phone number, you just use it however you see fit. And we got an email. I think we made somebody upset yesterday. This is coming from Dana. She says, "Hey guys, first of all, love the show. I was hoping to clear up some misconceptions about Chihuahuas and small breed dogs in general." Oh, yeah. Well, I told a story about how I went to a friend's going away party, never been to their house before. I walked in and this tiny little gerbil-like creature, they called it a chihuahua, started growling at me. And then the second I stepped towards it, it ran away. And I was like, why even bother growling? Like, you're not going to do anything.
Yeah.
And just be cute. You're cute. Don't growl.
And I had said that I worked at a veterinarian's office before, and my grandma owned a Chihuahua, and I don't trust them because all they do is yap and they're quick to bite. And so
Yeah.
that's probably what upset Dana.
Well,
right?
it wasn't a great day for Chihuahuas on our show
Yeah, it
yesterday.
really
even though
wasn't.
they're animals, and we love animals.
So what did Dana have to
She
say?
goes on to say, "I have 1 Chihuahua, 2 Chihuahua mixes. Never once did these dogs growl or try to bite. They've been exposed to numerous people and situations to help them understand that the world is not scary and people are okay. Imagine being a few inches off the ground and having a huge lump you've never met walking towards you. That would be
That
terrifying."
happens to me every day. I'm 5'1",
I'm sorry.
so I'm terrified every day when big people walk up to me.
Yeah. No, I hear you on that one. She goes on to say, "It's been my experience as I've met numerous Chihuahuas and small dogs that are vocal and aggressive that their owners didn't take the time to train and properly socialize them so these dogs can give the rest of them a bad name, which is incredibly unfortunate." That's from Dana. Yeah, Dana, I totally agree. I blame the human before the dog every time for the most part. It is so important that when we get a dog that we do the things you're supposed to do with a dog. Otherwise, you're dealing with this potentially dangerous creature. I mean, when it's that little, I don't know how dangerous it can be. But you've seen it, right?
I mean, dogs have teeth. So whether it's a 130-pound dog or a 15-pound Chihuahua, they can still be dangerous. They can still bite. But Dana, I'm glad that your dogs are the exception. And you've taken the time to train your dogs, and I apologize for offending your dogs. And thank you for clarifying
Well,
that.
actually, I like what you're sharing, Dana. I mean, that if more dog owners would think the way that you think, it would be a different doggy world.
yeah.
When you were at the vet's office, do you remember like most dogs that were weird usually had weird people?
yeah, they did.
So
Really
it's
off.
just something to consider. If your dog's weird, look in the mirror and see what's going on. By the way, here's a picture of her adorable little chihuahuas.
Oh, those are cute.
Look, I have it printed out. I'm snuggling with your chihuahuas, Dana. I know it's weird. Oh, the ink is coming off from
Are
the
you
printer.
going to frame that photo?
Oh, no, I'm going to eat the bottom.
So weird.
I don't wanna eat you.
Those are cute Chihuahuas, though.
Okay, no, I didn't eat the paper. Anyway, however you got here, thank you for turning your radio on. I think it's so nice, Kenny, that you were visiting your dad over the Father's Day weekend. Mm-hmm. And you seem to be on this mission, as a lot of us are, to get our dad's approval.
Sure.
He doesn't really think you have a real job, and does he still feel that way?
I don't know. I mean, maybe he's coming around, but every time I hang out with him, he's always like, "Hey, when are you going to come back to work?" And I'm like, "Dad, I have a full-time job."
And when he means come back to work, it means work for him.
Work for him.
Yeah.
And he does air conditioning units. And,
Yeah.
everyone who's ever done air conditioning units knows that's really uplifting, fun work.
You know why I got into the air conditioning business there, TJ?
Why?
Because you're always going to need air conditioning.
That is true.
There
That
you
is
go.
true. And you know what? And
Philosopher.
there is something to say. I can relate to you because my dad is a contractor. It's consistent work. People constantly need stuff fixed. They constantly need air conditioning or windows or whatever it is. So I agree with that. But it's also really hard work.
Yeah, it's not for everybody. For
Physically hard.
Yeah, it is.
sure. Just like
tough.
this isn't for everybody. you know?
Right. So we're all made to do different things. But you did something that was quite an accomplishment. You wanted to make sure
I
your
thought
dad
so.
was the first one to know about it. J-Bo, Kenny lost his phone, and he had to actually survive without his phone. And dads love directions.
You love to give directions.
Yep, that's right. And you did something quite special, and you shared it with him.
Oh,
Yeah. Hey, Dad. How's it going?
what's going on?
I wanted to tell you. You know how I had a little phone trouble over the weekend, but I managed to get home without any GPS. A good 3-hour drive, and I wanted to let you know that I thought you'd be proud.
All right, so you navigated on your own. I thought by now you'd know that we're going there like half a dozen times.
So it is a good point.
He got a point, for real.
You've driven this road many a times before, so is it really impressive to him?
Well, there's several ways to go. There could be traffic or an accident or something like that. I don't know. I thought he'd be impressed by that.
Yeah, your dad was not trying to give you any brownie points. He was like, nope.
Not yet.
All right, well, I've heard you complain to me about these crazy routes that your GPS in your car takes you.
Yeah, and I figured it out, too, that there was a little switch on it that tells you that to avoid the tolls and highways or something, there was...
Oh, your dad had that on?
Yeah, and the funny thing is I didn't stop him, but I helped him fix that. I let him have that one.
Yeah, I figured it out. There was a button that I needed to press, but your old man figured it out. I was like, I
he
actually fixed
figured
it. What?
he figured he had to tell you so you can figure it out for him, but he figured it out.
Yeah, I think he forgot that I did it for him, and then now he's just taking credit that he figured it out on his own.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's him.
So even when you can get the credit, you're not taking it.
a switch that you had to turn off, and then all of a sudden it gave me directions that make sense. So once I figured that out, it's been okay.
John probably couldn't make that drive without GPS.
That's your brother.
Yeah.
Starting to compare yourself to your brother.
No, I don't think so either. But I think you did good. It must have been all that things I taught you when you were a kid.
That's right.
All right. That's good. I'm proud of you.
Thank you, Dad.
Man, it took him a long time to give you a little ounce of credit.
But he's got his dad's approval. Kenny, well done.
But if you notice, it wasn't really approval for me. It was more like,
Oh, yeah, well, it must have been all that great stuff that I taught you when you were a kid.
so
Right.
he took credit for it again.
Yep, and he's a big part of the man that you are. You're a great guy.
That is true.
So well done, Kenny. You figured out how to get to the same place that you've driven 1,000 times without a GPS.
I
That's
did it.
impressive feat. This is the TJ Show.
What's good, everybody? It's Gerard Hector, the host and executive producer of the True Hoop Podcast. You guys can catch me and the godfather of basketball player development, Coach David Thorpe, every Monday and Thursday talking all things NBA.
It starts with Shea. Jalen Williamson, terrific. And a great coach. It starts with Shea. He's carrying a team. He's Michael Jordan right now.
Search for the True Hoop Podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you listen to podcasts. Rate, review, subscribe. Catch us every Monday and Thursday. Take care.
This is the TJ Show. Our news, it sounds different around here. Kenny reads through every story he can find, and then he brings us the most interesting ones. Kenny, what's happening on the planet?
We're learning that Nationwide, the insurance company, will cancel coverage for 100,000 animals, pet insurance coverage.
Really?
Because they're citing escalating cost of veterinary care. And I guess what they're doing is getting rid of coverage in certain states. So with the states that they're getting rid of coverage for, that's going to total about 100,000 policies.
Wow.
So much for being on your side.
Well, I don't know what's going on there. I know that I just got a puppy, and someone convinced me, which I've never been a fan of, getting pet insurance. And I said, all right, well, let me get it just in case there's an accident, just for the first year. I started submitting claims, because you got to submit it like it's a human.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Everyone, it's, no, sorry, we don't cover that. No, sorry, we don't cover that. No, and it's like, well, what's the point of this? I still don't really understand it. I mean, I think what it is in case there's a catastrophic disaster and you're dealing with like crazy fees, they'll cover some of that. I don't know. But I'm not familiar with Nationwide. Yes, producer Heather.
They wanted to make it as close to human insurance as they could, so they wanted to make sure no one could get any claims.
Don't cover anything.
Is that what it is? Yeah, it's okay, understood.
It's costing a lot of money. The company wants to remain financially viable, and they're doing this in order to attain that goal.
People who have pets, they know it's costing a lot of money, which is why they got the insurance in the first place.
Seems like there's no easy way out of all this, right?
It's tough.
Have we found anything where it's like, oh yeah, this works, and it's exactly what you think it is, and you pay, and you get it. It's tough to find that. Kenny, what else do you have?
There's a 95-year-old farmer in England who lost his Rolex watch over 50 years ago while working the fields. He's been reunited with that watch because he let a metal detectorist survey his land.
Really?
Yeah, the guy thought a cow ate his watch. Now, it's not exactly clear whether or not the cow ate the watch or not. The watch doesn't work anymore. It's stuck on 1240. It's develop some greenish tint to the watch face.
Gee, I wonder what that is.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, so this is the information we have. He said he's going to hold on to it as a keepsake, but it would cost him a lot of money to get it repaired. He also says there may be more valuables on his property, so he's inviting the metal detectorists to come back.
Yeah, I could see a cow eating a watch just to be hilarious.
Well, whether it was on purpose or not, the farmer thought that it fell in the field and the cow could have gobbled it up with a mouthful of grass.
Oh, so by accident.
By accident.
And cows have like 4 stomachs, so he wasn't going to go looking for it or wait for it to come out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right, and how do you find the cow?
Right.
Exactly.
All right, we're going to be eating a lot of filet for dinner.
Yeah, that's right. Oh.
Kenny, what else do you have?
There's a complicated class action lawsuit going on right now between the NFL and subscribers to NFL Sunday Ticket.
Sunday Ticket is a way for you to subscribe to see all the games, and you could be pretty much anywhere on the planet, and you can log in and watch whatever team you want.
Right.
What's the problem?
Well, essentially, they're claiming that the NFL has been charging subscribers inflated prices for Sunday Ticket, and that's a violation of antitrust laws.
Okay, and they're saying the prices are too high.
Well, Sunday Ticket costs $449.
I mean, who, at that point, don't you just quit watching football? Like, who, do you need it that
Are
bad?
you sharing a password or do you pay for that?
I declined to comment.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
All right. Somebody else is paying for that.
You better let the NFL know about this guy over here.
I didn't say anything. But here's the deal. So this case has brought some evidence into light. Apparently, Fox and CBS are motivated to have the NFL charge a ridiculous price for Sunday Ticket, because the more people that subscribe to the Sunday Ticket, the less people will be watching locally, which means lesser revenues and ratings for those local markets.
Wow, we are in such a complicated era with all this media. So these are the accusations that are being made.
Yeah, and this case is ongoing right now. What they're thinking is that if the NFL loses this case, they could be on the hook for $7 billion, which could be tripled to $21 billion because of antitrust laws.
Are you kidding me?
And also the speculation is that if they do lose, this could be very consumer friendly and open up more options for fans of the NFL. For instance, as a Jets fan who lives out of the market, I could perhaps buy a package that only includes the New York Jets, or I could buy a package that only includes this weekend and not the whole season, instead of having to pay close to $500 for everything.
That would be nice, though, the flexibility to do so.
Yeah, that's what they're hoping for. At least that's what the consumer side of this, that's what they're hoping for. And the plaintiffs are not only residential subscribers who watch at home, but also bars and restaurants that have Sunday Ticket for people who are coming to watch the games there.
Well, I'm just going to say this right now. If anyone wants me to watch the Jets, you're going to have to pay me. So I'm going to have a subscription fee to make me sit through that game. Kenny, what else do you have?
The U.S. Surgeon General, Dr. Vivek Murthy, wrote an op-ed for the New York Times yesterday urging Congress to pass legislation that would put a social media Surgeon General's warning on social media apps.
Good. Do it.
Stating that social media is associated with significant mental health harms for adolescents. And he's referencing a 2019 study that found the risks of depression doubled among teens who scroll for more than 3 hours a day, and a study from Gallup last year that showed that U.S. teens average about 5 hours on social media per day.
Put it right on the Instagram logo, right in the center, in that little camera hole. There it is, Surgeon General's warning, so you know.
I think that's what they want. And what he said is, why is it that we have failed to respond to the harms of social media when they are no less urgent or widespread than those posed by unsafe cars, planes, or food? It should be in the same category.
Well, I totally feel that, but you can just X out of the warning sign. There's warnings on cigarettes. People still buy cigarettes.
That's true. Yeah, and actually there are some countries where they will put pictures of people who have gone through surgery because of tobacco-related. People still buy them.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, like the most vile pictures you can imagine, right on the cigarette pack.
Yeah, when I lived in England for 4 months, the cigarette packs would have photos of people who went through surgery or a list of what it can happen and the deaths and the cancers, and I still have friends who smoked.
They turn the pack right around. They don't look at that side. Kenny, what else do you have?
Mr. Beast, a.k.a. Jimmy Donaldson, arguably the most successful YouTuber known for his wild videos, but also for his philanthropy, has made a $200,000 donation to help families in poverty through a charity called Give Directly. They say his donation will reach over 200 households in a village in Uganda and make a transformative change to this region that's struggling with severe poverty. His nonprofit Beast Philanthropy has partnered with Give Directly, which is an evidence-based charity known for its use of mobile cash transfers and satellite imaging that they use to pinpoint the most impoverished households.
So they knew exactly where to go to help. That's
Right.
Really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, and more on the point of their direct cash transfers, they say this method is more effective than traditional methods. They say it circumvents intermediaries like warlords or voluntourism, which is volunteering and tourism combined, and it ensures that the full benefit reaches the intended recipients. So Mr. Beast Donation will distribute around $1,000, which is a full year's salary in this area, to over 200 households. The video that went along with this, Mr. Beast posted, has 2.5 million views already. It was only posted yesterday. There's also a link on that video if you want to contribute to the cause yourself.
I think it's also important to note that it doesn't need to be that much money to help in those types of situations.
Yeah.
There's an organization that I know of that I really love. It's called Compassion International. And I saw a guy who is in leadership there talking about his story. He was a kid who really needed help. There was a babysitter in America who decided to give like spare pocket change to this monthly donation. And it changed his whole life. At least that's what he said.
Wow.
And now he's building schools in those areas. And it's like from one babysitter saying, all right, I'm going to spare, $20 or $30 a month. Boom.
Yeah,
Done.
it's that ripple effect. Like she threw the rock out into the middle of the lake, and then that caused a ripple for him to help other people now.
I was so moved by that story. So it doesn't have to be 1,000 or 200,000. It could be just a little bit extra money. Skip a couple sodas or coffees.
Coffees, or eating out.
Yep. Kenny, what else do you have?
Now, TJ, you celebrated a recent birthday. There are many who feel sad on their birthday, and mental health experts are weighing in to explain why the birthday blues are a thing and what can be done to not feel that way anymore. So one psychologist said birthdays can be complicated emotionally. She added that the occasion reminds us of the passage of time and what we won't get back. Too often we view years gone by as lost or wasted if they don't measure up to societal expectations of accomplishment.
Societal expectations, if you mean like floating through Instagram.
Yeah.
Never going to feel great after that. And, I'm very thankful. I don't get sad on my birthday. I'm just happy to still be alive. And I think we talked a little bit about that. How do you feel on your birthday, J-Bo?
It's a mixture of both. Like, not really sad, just kind of like, I didn't do that this year. I want to do that next year. But yeah, I'm still happy to be alive. I'm not really like super depressed about it.
So here are some of the reasons that cause the birthday blues: fear of aging, high expectations. Your birthday isn't what it was when you were a kid.
Yeah, the Ninja Turtle birthday party feels far away.
Of course, children who grew up in traumatic or stressful environments may have learned from a young age to associate their birthday with stress, inconvenience, and unimportance. And they say to beat the birthday blues, acknowledge, don't ignore your feelings. Slow down. Even 10 minutes of meditation on your birthday morning can help. They say think thankful and practice self-grace. Give yourself a break.
Kenny, what else do you have?
For the first time ever, toy demand from preschoolers has been passed by demand from adult toy enthusiasts above the age of 18.
What kind of toys are adults buying in such mass quantities that it's putting them in the lead?
Expensive Lego sets. They're saying Squishmallows and other plush toys apparently...
Stuffed animals?
Millennials have a nostalgic feeling towards the Beanie Babies of the 90s, so they're getting the new form of Beanie Babies these days.
I had no idea. Did you know that?
Well, I think a few weeks ago we talked about how nostalgia is like this huge thing right now with a lot of millennials and Gen X's, mainly millennials, because growing up, if your parents didn't get you something and now you have a job, you make your own money, you want to go ahead and, relive those childhood moments.
But my parents were mostly right about what they didn't let me get. What do I do about that?
Well, then good for you. You're saving money on not buying toys.
Yeah. Is that the best pill? Listen, I don't want to judge you.
Don't be in people's pockets, bro.
Yeah. But I guess Legos has a benefit for our mind, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, they say adults accounted for $1.5 billion in sales from January to April of this year. And speaking of Legos, Lego has a person on staff whose sole job is outreach to AFOLs, which stands for Adult Fans of Legos.
Get out of
And
here.
some of these adult Lego sets are super expensive. They have a Titanic Lego set that sells for $680.
What?
They have a Star Wars Millennium Falcon set that's priced at $850.
If you think about it, it's just like a 3D puzzle. Right? If you get a puzzle, you can spend, okay, it's like $5-6, dollar store, whatever, and then you take it apart. But at least with the Lego set, you put it together, and then you can put it on display.
But 800 plus? I've never heard of such a thing. I must be really out of it. I thought I was with it. But I, in all these years, have never heard that there are $800, unless, of course, it was like the original vintage. And like, of course, some rich person would want to buy that. But that's just now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, this Millennium Falcon Lego set, I think it's like imagine like I'm putting my arms out in a big circle.
It's
like that's how
massive.
big it is. It's huge.
It's disassembled plastic. I mean,
Don't you dare.
Are you kidding me? All right, J-Bo, Kenny, thank you for keeping us somewhat informed.
That's what's happening.
Stressed.
It was an article I saw float by yesterday. It caught my attention because I see this all the time, especially where we live. We see a lot of motorcycle people not wearing helmets.
Oh, yeah, I see that a lot.
And I always scratch my head wondering, like, what are they doing?
Yeah.
Why? Why would you ever choose? And I know if you're a motorcycle dude, you're like, loser.
The freedom is amazing.
I know, but it's like, I don't know. This is an interesting story that is getting some attention. Gordon Ramsay, you know that chef? He was involved in a bike crash, so just a normal bike. And he credits his helmet with saving his life. And I remember Kenny was making fun of me because I was telling him he should wear a helmet while he goes out and drives his scooter. And I was saying it's a serious thing, and I know we were all laughing, but like I was the only guy who said, seriously, dude, put on a helmet. And remember, you tripped over a sewer grate, and you were very fortunate to stumble through that fall, and you actually didn't get hurt.
You say fortunate, I say skillful. I fell perfectly. I'm confident in my ability to fall, and that's why I don't wear a helmet.
But Kenny, but seriously, I know you like joking around, but I have a friend, talked about Phil before, guy loves biking, mountain climbing, everything, and he got hit by a car on his bike, and it was completely out of his control. It was somebody not watching where he was, hit him, he fell off, he got really injured, and again, the helmet was a lifesaver there. Gordon Ramsay goes on to say, the helmets cost money, but they're crucial. And he says he's had a brutal week recovering and he's just sort of getting through it. But he's okay, thankfully.
Well, that's good.
And you think doctors and nurses and everything. But yeah, it's like you never know. It's the same thing with the seatbelt. I mean, I think it's pretty hard to not wear a seatbelt at this point because your car annoys you until you do.
Bing, 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 bing. It's so annoying.
So just wanted to throw that out there because it caught my attention. No one in particular, but Kenny, you're here.
Kenny.
Just my mom. I even called my mommy on him.
I remember, you tattletaled.
I said, Mommy, did you know that my friend Kenny doesn't wear a helmet? And she freaked out.
She said, are you nuts?
She said, yeah.
You nuts.
Gotta wear a helmet. Can't say it enough. Sorry, I'm a dad. I know, my kids, they go out on their scooter. Put your helmet on.
But it's not even about being a dad. It's just that you care for your friend Kenny.
Absolutely.
And you care for his life and his safety.
No, I do. I want Kenny to just be well. And I care about you, Kenny. That's the core of this.
I appreciate that. And if I were riding my scooter or my bike in a high traffic situation, I think I would wear a helmet. If I ever rode a motorcycle, I would most definitely wear a helmet.
You mean when you were riding in the middle of the street and you fell?
In the city?
Remember that time in the city when you weren't wearing a helmet?
It was in a crosswalk and on a sidewalk. So I'm staying off the road.
No, you were in the middle of the street when you fell.
In the middle of a crosswalk.
You're still on the road, Kenny.
You're at now you got 4 cars coming at you at once.
Pedestrian crosswalk at a traffic light.
That people tend to run traffic lights often.
Yes.
I saw it today.
Absolutely. And you just never know. By the way, on a more uplifting subject, thank you for all of your feedback. And I happen to see a couple messages pop in on our podcast, which, by the way, if you only catch a tiny sliver of our show, you can hear a whole lot more of what we do by just searching for The TJ Show wherever you listen to podcasts. This coming from a person named Assassin Peach. Oh, okay. Love this podcast, clean and witty. All right, thank you very much for that. Another one coming in says, love, TJ and the crew are a breath of fresh air, fun topics, great chemistry. The show has it all. Thank you very much for that. Another one that says, TJ, I've been following you since the Elvis Duran days. Wow, that's amazing to me.
That's a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long time ago, and I love all those people, but your strange, silly sense of humor always brightens my day. Oh, thank you. Okay, let me skip ahead to you guys. I'm now a J-Bo, Kenny, Josh, and Heather fan too. Thank you all for bringing a smile to my heart.
Oh,
so there
thanks.
it is. Search for The TJ Show. You got a fan, Josh.
Woo! That's a true fan right there. They know who I am.